have ignition sequence start. The engines are on. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Took you long enough.
Why'd you call me over here?
I'll make something big.
Sandcrawler big?
Not quite that big.
What those guys did was cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. Really wish I could have seen it.
So how can we scale it down?
Make a small one.
The little Sandcrawler? Like
Yeah.
toy size?
Yeah, we'll get it, Matchbox cars.
Okay. We could probably knock that out pretty quick.
No, I was thinking we should have something for a photo shoot. And I was thinking maybe doing a Jabba door that we could move around easy.
Say like a 6 foot by 8 foot section or something?
Something like that. Something that we can just put in the pickup truck. It doesn't take a lot of space storing it. And something that we can make in an afternoon that would be affordable.
Thinking styrofoam construction, 2x4s, kind of movie set style?
Yeah, something like that. Something that will look good on pictures. Look pretty good in person. And something be fun to do. Take a little break from making some domes. And that'll be fun.
I've seen some other fan-built ones. They look pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd be down to do something like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Totally. Let's do it.
Let's go to Lowe's.
Strongest man in the world! Just go up to the counter like this. Just one. Yeah, I'll just have one, please.
You're so lame.
Pew, pew, pew.
Don't worry, I missed. I'm a stormtrooper.
Alright, so we got some materials there, it looks like.
Yep. Of course, I'm supervising while you unload.
Yeah, thanks. So I think we got 4 2x4s, 2 pieces of 1-inch thick foam, and 1 piece of 2-inch thick white foam.
Yeah, that 2-inch foam is a pain in the butt to work with.
Well, it's more the plastic coating they put on it.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being like that when I used to buy it a long time ago.
That was the first foam that I ever bought like that.
So I guess right here we're pretty much just trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah, mostly we were, kind of arguing about the size. I wanted something that would fit totally inside the bed of the pickup truck, even though it's kind of small. For taking pictures, you have to get really close.
So we decided to not use the full sheets, but to cut them down. You see, here's that plastic. Now on the blue foam, when you buy that plastic comes up fairly easily and all in one piece. Funny thing about that is you had already marked a few cuts, and then we pulled the plastic off and realized, oh, well, now we have to mark it again. But with the white foam, you'll see the plastic is not as easy.
Yeah,
to
it
get
doesn't
off.
peel off very good.
It comes off in little pieces and can be.
It's like when you have a sunburn and you heal and you peel off little flakes of skin.
So these are 8 feet, and I think we decided to cut off like a foot and a couple inches. I don't remember.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's about 5 foot 10 inches in length. The
So we cut off
pickup truck is just 6 feet long, and there's the liner in there, so we cut it just a little bit shorter.
Right. So there we are cutting. We're putting. We're cutting the first piece.
Yeah, we sat down, or not sat down. We were looking at the materials and discussing what we were going to do, and then once we had an idea of what kind of size we were going to work on, we just went to work. We found in the past that if you sit there and plan and plan and plan and plan, you never actually build.
Yeah, planning can get in the way. I mean, not that saying that you shouldn't plan stuff out. When you get to a certain part and you've built enough things, you can kind of start to freestyle, maybe, in a way.
Yeah, and we've been working together long enough where we kind of know what the other person's thinking. So once we have a basic plan, then we just kind of fill in and do what needs to be done with whatever we're working on.
So we started off by cutting all 3 sheets to the same length. And we noticed when we took the plastic off, that white piece was broken in the middle, but we just glued it.
Yeah, it was actually bonded. We were thinking it was going to be a solid piece, and
Usually
it
it is. Like, well, my uncle used to build amazing things out of fiberglass. Like, you see, like, people catch a fish, they have it taxidermed and put on the wall. He would build them out of styrofoam, and you'd think they were real fish. So I used to actually deal with styrofoam a lot, and it never, maybe he was buying different stuff, I don't know. But we'd get the 8-foot sections, and it didn't have the plastic on it, and it wasn't broken when you pull it off.
Yeah, the blue foam wasn't very difficult to work with. It was pretty nice. The white stuff, it was just a pain in the butt, and mostly because of the wrappings they put on it.
This blue insulation foam is very similar to what like surfboard foam is like. It's easy to shape. It's a smaller
Pore size.
Yeah, it's a smaller pore size. Like the white foam is like big, like air expanded polystyrene that's like really poofy, like little. You know, when you start sanding it, you get just like little balls of it coming off. This blue stuff's a lot different, easier to shape in my opinion.
And when I was in school, we made model rockets, and the nose cones we made out of this. You just kind of cut them to shape, and then sanded them down until they were round.
Yeah. So right now we have that flower pot because we're gonna have circles for details in this, and we're kind of just you want to make measurements on what you're doing, but at the same time, you kind of want to just stand back and eyeball certain things. So once we understand like the dimensions of everything, then we can commit to solid dimensions. And we're cutting this kind of like a window frame. We're building this in layers to get the different dimensions or the different depths.
Yeah, and we decided that we weren't going to try to make an exact reproduction of the door, which is huge, but a prop that you would look at it and you would know exactly what it was.
We got that cut out like a window frame there after. So this is the top piece, and then
I'm just hitting it with some sandpaper, rounding the edges down.
So when you're looking at the Jabba door, this is that piece now we're cutting the circles into it, is the front layer, and then behind that you have another layer, so that gives you the different components that make up the door. And I'm just hitting it with a hole saw.
That hole saw has a lot of blood on its hands.
Yeah, that's the one that cut you real bad, right?
Yeah.
And
of course, we're being totally safe with what we were doing.
We put it into one of our other drills, which is a hammer drill, which is like really powerful, and the trigger on it's no good, so you should be able to vary the speed, but it's like
it's all
off,
or nothing.
Yeah, it's like off or insanely.
Yeah.
So we named that drill Mofugger.
Yeah, that was the first tool that we named is the hammer drill.
Mofugger does not make an appearance in this video, so. Mostly we use it for, putting the mixers on the end and like mixing up big buckets of composite now, so it's powerful enough for that, and we're not putting sharp tools.
The little hand drills can barely even turn it. And Mofugger just.
Yeah, that thing's scary. You got that for $5 at a yard sale.
Yeah.
It probably killed a few people before we got it.
Yeah, there was some residue on it. I wasn't quite sure what it was. I'm gonna have it DNA tested.
Anyway, that hole saw though that's in that drill, and that's my Hitachi drill, which I got that years ago, and the thing like still awesome.
Yeah, it is.
But no, that hole saw I bought specifically for cutting the speaker plates for my R2, and it's just hung around, and we put an AC in with it we use that hole saw for the exhaust fans and stuff, and just use the crap out of it.
Oh, with the drill press when we were working on my wood frame, we couldn't get the drill press to drill with a hole saw through the Baltic birch, but we could with the little Hitachi power drill.
Well, remember we found out that my drill press had a loose nut on the spindle, which is why it wasn't.
Yeah, but it was still, we couldn't get it on my drill press either.
Well, your drill press is small. Either way, that hole saw and that Hitachi drill is kind of a workhorse for me too. But anyway, when you cut something out with a hole saw, there's the leftover piece, and we're going to use those too, because while this is the one layer, inside those circles we're going to put the piece back in after they've been reshaped, so there's a gap all the way around.
Which is actually what I'm working on while your little diva in front of the camera all the time. Since we've only got the one camera, you were just focusing it on you.
Well, if Alex or somebody was here to do the camera work, I mean, we just had to use a tripod, which we named the tripod Alex now. So.
Yeah.
But if actual Alex was there, then he could have gone back and forth. But
And he could have held the camera while it was not recording.
yeah,
And then set it down when it was recording.
yeah, like he did the last time. Anyway, another good thing about this foam, like I said earlier, it's easy to shape. So I'm just cleaning up the holes after they're cut with a little bit of sandpaper, and just making it look pretty good. And I gotta also sand the edges here to make them straight. And you can, like I said, you can really take a lot of material off really fast on this foam, so you got to be careful. I could,
You're just brushing it with it more than anything else.
Really lightly on there.
And while you're doing all this, I was shaping all the circles to a little bit smaller version, so that
I did
it would
get
give
some,
us the look.
I did get some footage of that too, so
Yeah, that's coming up.
get to see use the disc sander for that. There it is.
Yep.
So basically, we traced a smaller circle onto the blanks that came out, and
It goes much faster. Usually, when I'm using the sander, it's something wood or composites, and the foam is just poof, it's done. It was really easy to work with.
Yeah, it's really easy to work with the foam, and the only downside is that the garage was filled with blue powder from that blue
Yeah.
foam. Looked like a Smurf exploded. But the disc sander is one of the tools where it's really easy. Remember in the dome video we used that, and we made the perfect circle out of the cutting board for the PSI diffuser. So disc sander is definitely a tool that I would be lost without.
Well, and it wasn't very expensive. We got it from Harbor Freight. It was we get it on sale for like $40 or something like that.
Yeah, I want to get one of the big discs too.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Other things. But the thing is, like I was talking about earlier, where my drill press had a spindle missing out of it, and I had a loose nut on the spindle, and I didn't know for like a year and a half that nut was loose, and the whole time that nut was in there while it was spinning, just slowly machining the threads off the spindle.
Yeah, I only have like one row of threads left.
So yeah, and the drill press, like once I realized that's why I wasn't getting the power I should have been getting, I put the nut back on, but there's only one row of threads left. So we tightened it down, and then so it wouldn't come loose, we put super glue, some Loctite super glue on there. And the thing is, the drill press could last another day or another 3 years. We just don't know. But drill presses aren't one of those things that's hard to come by. You can just go buy one at the store. So our philosophy is we're not going to replace it until it stops working, unless a tool is like dangerously malfunctioning.
Yeah.
Which if that nut comes off, it's just going to lose power. It's not going to hurt anyone. So there's no reason, there's a temptation to go buy a new one right now, but there's really just no
especially
reason.
some of them have the laser guides that would be, nice for seeing exactly where it's going to.
Yeah, so we can upgrade whenever it goes, but we're just gonna, as soon as it stops working, then we'll replace it. Until then, we'll just keep using it. Now here, to do some detail, I taped sandpaper onto a yardstick, and I'm just carving detail into this piece of foam, and worked awesome.
Well, and we've got a fairly long history of having to make tools in the middle of a build, whether it's something simple or something a little more complex.
Yeah, sometimes you have to make a jig or something. This is a really simple thing here. For some of the dome molding and stuff like that, we have jigs that help get spacing properly, so like the rings are at the right distance and stuff like that. So you can't just go to the store and be like, yeah, I'd like a jig for a Jabba door, because they just don't have that. So you see now that I carved the detail in, you can really see like it's starting to look like a detailed piece of work now.
And that's wood glue that you're painting on with a paintbrush. That we were nearly out of wood glue and had to run back to the hardware store later on.
Because this is we're trying to do this all in one day, we didn't have a lot of time for like glue drying and stuff, so we just clamped everything the best we could. This isn't like something that is going to have a lot of pressure put on. It's just light foam. And you have to be careful what glue you put on styrofoam, because it will eat it.
Yeah, certain glues will totally dissolve it. We tried using some spray adhesive, and that was dissolving it.
Yeah, that was just like, you can't spray paint the styrofoam. So like when my uncle used to do like the fish and stuff, I used to go to his shop and just be amazed, because he would do it, and then he would coat all the fish after he carved the fish out of styrofoam in epoxy, and then he'd airbrush like these amazing finishes on them. They look just like real fish at the end of it. People used to think they were, because he'd sell them to like restaurants for like big wall hangers and stuff. And so that's why I learned from him when I was probably like 7 or 8 watching him do that stuff. That you can't paint styrofoam with spray paint. That he was always coating it with epoxy, which is great. Then it's hard, like proper plastic. It's good to go. So.
Since I don't have any hair, I have to wear a hat, or I get sunburned in like 5 minutes.
It's true.
And this is how we usually end up using the truck. It's we're using it as a jig to help the glue dry, and we hardly ever drive it.
Just to get material.
Yeah, really.
Lowe's is literally a block away.
Yeah, which is convenient. I just wish it was about any other hardware store.
What is it? I call it Lowe's. I call it blows. Because unless you're like working on a house, they don't have what you need. Ace would be better. Travis Hardware is a local hardware store. It has like everything. It's like an old-fashioned hardware store, like you would have probably saw like in the 70s, where they have like just shelves and shelves and shelves.
They've got a lot of great stuff, and they're not open on the weekends.
No, it's just like an old-fashioned hardware store. It's like just basic business hours, closed on the weekend. But if you need like a piece of extruded aluminum in a specific size, you can go there. They'll pull off the shelf, cut it to size.
As long as it's not a weekend, like if you have a job and have to, pay for food and shelter.
Yeah. Well, I wish that Travis Hardware was open all the time.
Yeah, it'd be nice. And the other thing with the, one by the house, every time I buy loose hardware, they're overcharging for the nuts and the bolts.
All right, you better be careful. Lowe's isn't gonna like flag this video as hate speech. So
now I just take pictures and I bring it up.
I'm going making the frame here.
And I'm sure I was doing some sort of work, but
actually, you got a phone call at this point, so I was kind of working on my own.
Oh, was I?
Mm-hmm. Trust me, I know. So yeah, just cutting the 2x4s and making the frame. There's one L shape, and I've got the chop saw set making 45-degree angles now. I'd like to point out earlier though, when I was cutting the bigger pieces, because of the angle that the camera's at, it looked like my hand was really close to the blade, but it was like 6 inches away or more. Don't risk life and limb to get a prop done. If it had been any bigger than that, I would have waited for you to come back, Scott, but it wasn't that big a deal. And then these pieces are easy. These are I'm just cutting the...
and that saw is probably one of the tools that we use more than just about any other. It's super handy.
Yeah, so that's Green Machine. That's what I call that tool. And that's my chop saw. I was really happy when I got it. I put a Diablo blade on it, which I shouldn't be using to cut wood because it's for non-ferrous metals. But it's fine. So here we're using the side of the bay door in your garage to...
it's a square.
As a square.
Yeah.
And then there's those pieces I just cut with the angle to put them together. You notice we use 2 drills. We have the drill bit in one, and the driver bit in the other, because if you have just one drill, then you're switching back and forth. Like, you're constantly switching the bits, and it's a pain.
And now that we have all our tools in the same spot, it's pretty convenient because you've got your tools and I've got my tools, and we have some overlap, but it's handy for things like this.
Since I've left my beloved Hitachi drill over at your house, like, I used to keep that here in my apartment, and then like I need it like all the time. It's like it's at Scott's house.
Oh, it's happier at my place.
Yeah. That was definitely, when you go to buy a tool like that, you can spend a little extra money. Some things it's okay to Harbor Freight it, but...
And I got a cordless drill at Harbor Freight, and it doesn't hold a charge very long. It doesn't have a lot of power. It's marginally useful, but it doesn't get hardly any use now that your tools are over there. The Black & Decker drill I got at Walmart's all right. The Harbor Freight one is just... some things, the Harbor Freight tools are good for. The cordless drill just isn't very good. And the Hitachi drill is fantastic. The
Hitachi is like...
chop saw is fantastic.
Pretty comparable to like DeWalt tools. Whereas like, there's some of the less like Huskies like lower down and stuff like that. Hitachi should probably start paying us for saying this though.
Yeah, so Hitachi, if you're listening, we're available.
Yeah. Send me free tools, because Well, they're not going to because I already talked about how awesome it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's free. He's going to tell us. He's going to tell everybody it's good now without us paying him. But these cross beams we're putting in are the ones that we're going to take apart every time we have to move it, so that the two L-shaped pieces will just stack on top of the foam. So this whole thing will come apart. We're going to take it to the local movie theater for the release of Episode 7, along with our droids, so that people can get pictures and we can entertain people while they wait in line, and also just so we can have a good time ourselves.
Well, yeah, and one of the biggest design constraints, because our local group has some pretty impressive physical props for taking pictures in front of, but they're huge, they're heavy, and it's really a burden for people to store them. And
we have to run a U-Haul like every time we want to move one around.
Yeah, so we wanted something that was really lightweight, that wouldn't take a lot of space, but still looked good. And so that's why we ended up, and there was a fair amount of discussion going back and forth. So we compromised. We have some side pieces that are in construction while we're doing the voiceovers, and at the end we'll add those pictures in that are also, we can disassemble them, and everything packs in a nice small spot. We can take it in one load in the pickup truck.
Totally. And it's cool just our local club is really spread out. Florida is kind of spread out place. I mean, Orlando, even though it's one city, you could be in Orlando and still be a few hours from another place in Orlando.
Yeah. Yeah. When someone says, hey, I'm coming down to visit you, and where are you going to be? Well, Orlando. And well, can you come and meet me? And it's like, well, it'll take me 2 hours to get there. What? But you're in Orlando. Like, well, there's Orlando and there's Orlando.
Especially if you have to get on I-4.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the club is spread out a lot. So wherever a certain thing is being stored, this since we built this just belongs to Scott and I only. So if we need it, we have it right when we want it. If we have a party or something where the droids are going to be, people can come over and we can set it up. Or if we need to get a shot of like something we need to sell and we want a cool backdrop, we can throw it in front of the Jabba door. So that's kind of the idea in building this. And building this was not very expensive. For you guys out there that maybe do there's like some filmmakers out there, some budding filmmakers that are, having trouble with like sets and stuff like that. Like, it doesn't take a lot to do this kind of thing. So.
Well, it's like anything. The labor, it's the time that's invested is what's really the expensive part. The materials, I think, what did we spend? About $160, all said and done.
$160, and we have a ton of paint left over.
Yeah,
we've got some foam left over, which is always good to have. Like remember when I was making that piece of armor? Like I just got a little 2x4 scrap of foam and carved like a very critical piece to it. So I mean, the materials, don't throw anything away. And the more stuff you build, the more scrap and small parts you have laying around. So you can totally use them.
Yeah, it's definitely handy to have those pieces around. I've since used several of the scrap pieces that we've got. And you can see right here in the video, it's starting to get a little bit darker, but we're getting pretty much done with the physical build. The styrofoam was held onto the 2x4s with some T-nuts that were glued in on the front, and so we can take the styrofoam completely off of the 2x4 frame, and the 2x4 frame will just go in the truck. And here we're mixing up some sand texture that we got at the hardware store into the paint, so that we had more than just a flat paint texture, and it actually came out pretty good. And we actually did read the instructions, and the material said it could be carcinogenic if inhaled, so we wore respirators, and then we were rushing because we're losing light.
Yeah, after the sand additive is mixed into the paint, then it's not airborne anymore, and you can take the respirator back off. But we're in such a hurry because we just forgot, and we still have the respirators on. And we're talking to each other all muffled, trying to hear what each other are saying.
And this is almost at real time because we're working as fast as we can, because as we're working, we can see the light go down, down, down.
Yeah, we really wanted to finish this in one day. So after this, this is obviously, we're watching this now and doing the voiceover. This is about a week ago. And since then, we've gone and we did do some weathering, which you'll see some pictures of that. And also we added on to the sides with a couple of blocks too.
Yeah.
Which is nice because it's not connected, so it still fits our original goal of being able to get into the truck, because the side columns are just two blocks on each side that are separate, and they just stack up.
And it looks like the I don't want to say the casing, but the stone sides of the Jabba door.
So what do you think? One day we did pretty good.
I think we got a lot done for one day. We kind of built it and designed it as we built it. We're got to do all the weathering, have the details pop out.
Yeah, because we just barely got this paint on there, and I plan to go over it with a couple black washes, some tan washes, get a little hint of the desert in there.
Yeah, get some sand in the cracks and stuff
on there. Yeah, throw
there.
some Fuller's Earth on it or something like that, and call it done. Yep. But right now, with just one color paint, it's really one-dimensional, and you've got to get layers of grime in order for this to look like anything from Star Wars.
Definitely. Star Wars is a lived-in universe. Yeah.
And how many times do you think Galaxy Quest played in the background?
6, 8, something like that.
6, 8 times. So, yep, that was the movie. We always play a movie in the shop while we're doing stuff. It plays over and over and over again. So today was Galaxy Quest. So I don't think we actually watched any of it, of course.
No, I mean we've seen it enough. So
question: why didn't we watch Return of the Jedi then?
Well, I watched it all last night, about 12 times.
Doing another project last night?
No, just like Return of the Jedi.
Oh. I was watching Back to the Future when I was doing a project earlier. It had nothing to do with Back to the Future, though.
Did you see the Elijah Wood? 2002, 2010, 2012, and then 2015. He's a little kid from
Was
Back
it
to
all
the
the
Future.
same pictures?
No. It's like he's getting older, and then he's 8.
Well, I think by the time, I know it's dark because we ran out of daytime and we just finished building this, so
hard to see, but
by the time you watch this video, I'll have time to get some shots of it in the daytime, so I'll edit those in now. No, you'll get to see some shots of it in the daytime with the black washes and the weathering and all that, and then hopefully you'll see a lot of photos with this as a backdrop. I'm ready to call it a day, dude.
Yeah, me too. Tired.
All right, check us out. We're Mars Props.
Facebook.com/MarsProps. Like us, love us, share us.
Yep.